Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the One Step Better podcast. I am Mike Schaefer, and with me, I used to say like always, but here lately it's been on most days, Matt Patrick.
I'm back.
I'm back again.
Same thing last time I was on.
Right?
Hey, A-Team's back. Every,
That's
two or
right.
three times I come on.
It's only, I think you've only missed like maybe three, somewhere around there.
I've been around just, not recording
other stuff going
podcasts.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like the highlight of your week, is sitting down with
I love
me
it. I love it.
and recording podcasts.
I wish I did it more. I want to do it every day.
I know you've been crying. Like,
I know.
during those podcasts,
I was
you're
upset
not
last week.
on.
I missed last week and I really wanted to do it. And Shelby knocked it out of the park for us.
Yep.
As always.
As always. Well, anyway, welcome back. Really appreciate you joining us today. Just want to kind of set the table again. We've been doing this podcast now for just about a whole entire year, which is a lot longer than I thought we would. I thought we might get a couple months
And
in
now
just
all
kinda
7
trail
of you guys that are listening, I appreciate your regular viewership.
That's right. That's right. Our goal of this podcast is really just to talk about issues that we run into on a daily, weekly basis, things that we hear from different business owners that we're talking with, in the hopes of being an encouragement to other business owners, business leaders out there, to show a level of empathy that, you're not in this alone. There's a lot of stuff that everybody kind of shares in. So that's our goal with this. And if you ever have questions or thoughts or topics that you want us to talk about, or things that you're going through that you want to share with us and get somebody else on the inside with you, let us know that. You can always reach us at onestepbetter@patrickaccounting.com. And we would love to hear from you. You can always, as we talk about most weeks, just put a comment down on below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or leave us a comment on Apple Podcast or Google Play or wherever you, Spotify, all of the different podcast.
Can you make comments
places.
on Apple Podcasts?
Yeah.
I guess you could.
Yeah, we have some. We have some ratings. We have some comments.
I know we have ratings, which is great. I just didn't know we could make comments. I'll start making a bunch of weird comments on the ones I'm not on.
You start commenting on all of our episodes, like, who's that joker up there?
That was awful.
Terrible.
When are you going to fire Mike?
It was going to be more like, hey, you need to bring Matt back. Where's Matt?
Yeah, that's right. Man, Matt is awesome. Man.
Signed.
A lot better when Matt's on.
D. Matthew Patrick.
That's right. No, I'll use Mateo. I'll do my Spanish version.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right.
So anyway, enough of that. We're going to get started today with our question of the week, which is going to be a fun one. Would you rather, dun, 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 would you rather be late for work or leave early from work?
Having the name on the door helps.
It does.
Yeah. I would rather,
You can both.
Well, both is my primary answer, but the reality is if I can leave early from work, I like that better. Coming in for work is just, I feel like I'm already behind.
Yeah.
So when I leave work early, I feel like
You've accomplished.
I've actually got out of here, and I feel guilty. And I don't know if any other owners have that, but I do feel guilty when I leave work early. Or,
Do you feel more guilty leaving early than coming in late?
oh yeah, I'm always late. So if I felt guilty for that,
It's
I'm
just
screwed.
normal.
That's 5 days a week. No, honestly, I feel rushed. If I'm coming in later than I want to, if I had planned on being here at a certain time, I'm here later. That stresses me out. But leaving early from work, I feel like it's a reward.
Yeah.
So like anybody else, leaving early is better.
Yeah, my preference is to leave early. I don't. There's
Like Friday afternoons off early are nice.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
We'll talk about that later. We talked about maybe
Yeah.
at some point.
So my thing is it's very similar to yours. My morning routine is pretty set, and the time doesn't necessarily, the time is the time. It doesn't
If
matter.
you had a flat tire and now you're late, something's going to throw you off. My whole day gets out of whack.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's a different story if something causes me to be late. But if I'm, I get here between 8:30 and 9 most days. And
Our hours are 8:30 to 5:30 bike.
I get here between 0 and 30 minutes late every day.
That's right.
Between
As I roll in at 10.
But that's pretty set. And if I was to show up at, like the other day, I had to go get fingerprinted before work because they open at 8:30 and I was going to get knocked out.
When you're on parole, I understand.
And so, the jail man told me to gotta come visit.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting here like 9:15, 9:20, somewhere around there. And that's normally later than when I'm here, but that kind of
Out of your norm.
Yeah.
Out of routine.
that was out of
Leaving
routine.
at 4:30 is great.
And
Happy hour. Let's
that
go
doesn't
happy.
bother me.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me either.
Because I feel like I did. I've accomplished everything. Because there's some days it's like 4:45 and I just finished my project. And so it's either, all right, am I going to start on something else, or I can just go ahead and head out? And sometimes I'll do that. But
I know, I see you.
Yeah, you can see me all you want. I'll wave to you
You're like,
on the way out.
Honk out. I'm leaving. Deuces.
That's right. I'm going to start posting in Slack. All right, everybody. I'm out. Now you got a time stamp record. I do prefer to leave early.
George Costanza, right? Leave on a high note.
That's right.
That's right. I'm out.
Deuces.
That's right.
So anyway, the topic that we're going to talk about today is how Matt always gets to work late and leaves early.
Yep.
And how that is a problem for everybody else involved. No, not really. It's the benefit of having your name on the door.
Your name's on the door. You can
do whatever you want.
I can make the hours whatever I want today.
That's right. That's right. I think that's a perfectly fair thing to say.
So when I rebrand, make sure I leave my name on the door is what you're telling me. So
we have to always be Patrick something.
Patrick something. That's right.
So now, if you ever get involved in Works, you're not allowed to leave early.
I lost my name on the door. That's why I'm going to stay employed with Patrick Accounting.
That's right. Matt, who's Matt Patrick? I thought y'all were Works. What is this?
Right. Yeah. Yep.
I doubt that'll ever become a thing. Anyway, that's enough of that.
We're having fun today.
That's probably not the day to record a podcast, right? One of the things that we like to do is just talk about normal issues that pop up from time to time in different businesses. And one of those that has a pretty big effect, positive, negative, is compensation. How we pay our people really, really does matter. It does have the ability to move the needle. And when we talk about this today, we're going to try to give you some different ideas on how to structure compensation, some things that we do see, things that work well, things you have to watch out for, and actually developing some compensation models. But with this understanding off the bat, neither of us believe that compensation moves the needle incrementally the same pace of a raise or whatever. More dollars isn't always going to be the best approach to getting more productivity. However, the dollars have to be there in order to get productivity. And so, we compensate very fairly. More money isn't going to always equal the equivalent of more work. And so I want to stay on the front side because some of the things we're going to talk about is tying compensation to production and ways to motivate from a dollars standpoint. And so I think it's just good to say off the start. So Matt, as we get into this a little bit, talk to me a little bit about, as you started to hire employees and bring more people on our team, where do you go to get baseline understanding of how much this position is worth?
That was super hard in the beginning. When I first started, I didn't have really anywhere to go. It was, I knew what I was making when I left another job and how long I had worked there and kind of where I had gotten to. I kind of had a ballpark understanding what my bosses made, but I didn't know what everybody in my organization had made. So, obviously, like most people, I hired a lot out of desperation in the very beginning. And so it was, okay, in order to get somebody into this role that I need filled, I'm going to put an ad out there. And if I don't get enough traction, I would, put into the higher amount. I did a lot of research online, salary.com, or today I look at Glassdoor. You can get information today. That's ADP actually puts out a decent salary and wage guide. And so you can get a lot of information that way. However, in the very beginning, a lot of times just kind of knowing, if you'd worked in a similar role before, kind of understanding what, people make, obviously just ask around. But even in the very beginning, my biggest frustration at that point was when I worked for somebody else, it was like, great. If I work a bunch more make a bunch more money for this business, I don't win. The only person that's winning, I would have won in the long term, but the short term, there was not a lot of short term winning.
Yeah.
I felt like I may get a bonus, but it was really subjective. I may get a raise, but it's pretty much just a cost of living adjustment. I didn't really feel like I had compensation tied to my performance or even to my production. And I didn't love that mindset. That was always felt like I was kind of getting screwed out of, like, I understand the bosses need to make money, and I understand they deserve to, they invested in me to empower me to do better. But I never felt like, hey, if I put the extra effort in, I'm not going to win necessarily.
You didn't feel like you had the ability to control your own compensation. Out of control.
Yeah. And I was compensated fairly. Don't say I wasn't. I just didn't feel like it was directly correlated the way I would want it to be. And now, how we run our business now, I feel like that's our goal, is to directly correlate it into performance. I want to do performance and production, and if you're contributing to the organization, I want everybody to win. And we've done that with a couple of different things we'll talk about today. But
The harder you work or the better you work, the more you should get paid in theory, right?
Better, yes. Harder, maybe.
Harder, maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Just because you work hard doesn't mean it was something that helped the organization succeed, right? We all work hard. We want people to work hard. That's important. But if you're working hard in the wrong direction and the organization doesn't see any benefit from that, it's hard to say, yes, you should win just because you decided to work harder that day.
Sure.
That being said, most of the time, if alignment of working hard and working towards a better common goal is in alignment, then yes, you should win. Some of the things we've done to make that happen is we have a firm-wide profit sharing plan. We all win based on sharing of the firm's profits. So the more the more profitable we are, everybody gets a piece of that. And we have 4 factors that weigh into that equation. And so it's double, and we're stealing this from Dave Ramsey's way they did it, and I liked it. And so we kind of copied it from him and EntreLeadership guys. And that was double weighted based on the tenure length you've been with the firm. It's attitude, and then your division's area of profitability. And so we share a percentage of firm profits. I think I'm the only one that knows what it is. And the more people we add on the team, there's a dilution effect until we get more profitable. If we let people go, the number goes down. So all that being said, we're all wanting people on the team that are helping us get better every day. And so that's number one. Other ways we do that we have our incentive pay system for production positions. We pay our salespeople based on, they get a base plus commission. They get commissions based off of certain metrics they're hitting. They have quarterly goals. They get bonuses off of that. So overall, we have a monthly production bonus on our accounting team for them hitting their goals. The payroll team has bonuses based on them hitting their goals. And so every team has the ability for them to reach,
some level of control.
They can control what they make sure they win.
Yeah. So when it comes to, there's a lot of business, if you're a retail shop, restaurant, whatever it may be, where you have a bunch of hourly workers that their compensation may be really difficult to tie to their overall production. If I'm a cashier at a bank, what are some ways that you can keep those people motivated to do better, to try harder, to be more successful? Well, in those types of roles,
that role, let's say you're a cashier at a bank or, you're a teller at a bank, they're going to have, what does winning look like in that role? Okay. Maybe it's every day that you are in balance at the end of the day for the course of a month. If you never were out of balance, you get a bonus. Well, that makes the efficiency of the system work better, which means the bank works better. That's one less thing, a regulatory control. Or, hey, it's the number of new bank accounts you got signed up for that month. The people that came in that sign up for a savings account or a Christmas account or whatever it was. You can tie performance that you want, which is success in that role, to compensation. You can tie, there's some way you can do it, either through a bonus, through a spiff, through a daily goal, a monthly goal, weekly goal, whatever it is. You can directly correlate it to it.
And it's not always super easy. It's not always super apparent. This is the one thing that drives everything else. And so we can tie compensation. And that's where, from a leader's perspective, they have to really work hard and know that role and what winning looks like in that role in order to be able to develop that whole entire structure around, when this person's doing their job exceedingly well, I want to reward them with additional dollars in some way.
Absolutely. I mean, I think of, the thing, the idea that came in my head is Infinity, I get my car from them and I get it serviced. They have a goal every month. They get a customer service survey comes out every stinking time after I go in there. But they don't tell me how to rate me. All they really do is, I really want you to complete that. Mm-hmm. I get performance based off them completing the survey, not the rating of the survey. They want you to be honest on the survey, which is I appreciate. I've had some people try to push me, hey, if you give me a 5, I'm good. That's not the same thing as this. This is, our goal is to get 100% of people giving us feedback on how we're doing. That's the goal. Well, I'm assuming there's a bonus tied to it. At least I want to. And that makes, make sure it happens. And so that's winning, is we want to get 100% surveys back from people that get their car serviced here. So we make sure we're doing a good job. Great. That's how you get rewarded.
I remember back whenever I was, a teenager, first started working in a job, they did secret shopper type stuff. And if a secret shopper came in and you serviced them and you got over X percentage or whatever the score was, then you would get some dollar amount tied to that. Or when I worked at Sears, every credit card that you opened, you got some dollars tied to that.
My dad worked at Home Depot, and they had 5 metrics as a manager, but one of theirs was credit card applications applied for.
Yeah.
I'm like, that sounds terrible.
Which goes to show you, man, those
By the
credit
way,
cards
they're
are
hawking those things. Yeah, they're making a lot of money on credit cards. Just remember that.
Yeah.
But like theirs were, like his were,
extended warranties.
Out of stock inventory, right? That was a big deal. Like there's, you had to have a lower percentage of out of stocks in your department. Every department could control that. So that, and then the cashiers, it was loss prevention, and it's inventory control, and it's, how many days in a row is your till right? All those things are just metrics of what does we look in that role.
Yeah. And those are all cascaded throughout the organization, because if my overall goal for our company it may be we're going to have, a 98% retention rate of our customers. And throughout that means that my sales team needs to be motivated to bring in ideal clients that are going to be in the right vein of what we're trying to do. My customer service team needs to be well trained in how we expect our clients to be treated from a customer service standpoint. And both of those things you can tie compensation to, whether it's surveys or ratings or surveys for, sending out just client-based or whatever it may be.
Yep.
Because it's if I can get my individual departments moving in the same direction as the organization, well, then my organization is going to be fully aligned in the direction that we want it to head.
Correct. And so we really talk about compensation, but this is not really compensation conversation. It's really about goal setting and setting up alignment of what your expectations are in the roles. This is why we went through KRAs first, a couple of weeks ago, and now we're going back to compensation today. I have to have a clear presentation of what my expectations are of the role. I have to define it. I have to define what winning looks like, and then I tie compensation to it. Compensation is a result that they are winning in the role, not just because.
If I don't have clearly identified goals for each role, which that means I have to have clearly identified goals for the organization, the values by which we're walking, on a daily basis. If those don't exist, my compensation is throwing darts at a dartboard and hoping I hit the right number.
Yeah, it sounds like it's very subjective at that point. I like the person.
My competition pays X. That's where I'm going.
They worked 10 years in this industry. That's what this always pays. Well, that person may be worth a lot more than that. They could be worth a lot less than that. They could have a different experience. They could bring a whole other level than you've ever imagined before. You want to reward the people for what they're doing. It's super hard. Compensation is a super tricky subject. In our world where, our widget is servicing clients on a number of different things on the accounting side. On the payroll side, it's, we have, and we want to make sure that our customers are getting better through the process and utilizing the technology we have and making sure that we're, our customer service is all we want it to be. There's a lot of technology that we offer and making sure that our clients are really engaging with that. Well, those are all metrics we need to make sure we're measuring. We'll talk about this later, but the idea is, is it quality control, and it's speed and efficiency, and all those things matter, and our profitability in the account. And, we balance all those things at all times. Those are all areas that we have to measure for performance. Yeah.
The another thing of that is, I think that it's important just to every once in a while push back from everything else and just think about your overall compensation for, whether it's role, department, or entire organization specific. Is what I'm doing aligned with what I'm trying to do? We ran into that a few years back where we had a bonus structure that it seemed to produce results that were not in line with our values. We wanted to be a teamwork, team first.
Yep.
Everybody's working together towards a common goal, but we had a bonus structure that was
not aligned to that
individual performance with the lack of the team.
Yeah, just some clarity there so everybody knows. We used to provide a bonus. So an average staff person in our role would handle 50 accounts. That's somewhere around that. And from there, we would pay a bonus based on if they went out on time, they'd get $5 as long as they hit 95% went out the door on time. And if they came in on time, so we'd give them another $5 if they got the information from the client by our due date. And the reason for that is we felt like velocity matters. Getting the stuff out the door on time mattered. The problem with that was screw everybody else. I don't care if anybody else gets their stuff done. I'm getting my stuff done so I can get my bonus.
I can't help you if you need help.
Correct.
It's your problem to figure
it out. You're not making my bonus. And it was a detriment. And we had a complementary bonus to that. We had a team bonus. So the team bonus was if the whole team gets their stuff done, they'll get a bonus. The math worked, though, that the individual bonus was well an exception of the team bonus. And the team bonus was you weren't in control of it as much. So it was a lot harder for us to hit our goals there. And so it didn't align. It didn't align with our goal of team first. That's one of our values. And it's like, this is not what I'm trying to accomplish. Granted, getting out the work on time is super important, but it's a team's role to make sure the stuff goes out on time, not individual. So we changed it. We changed it to a team bonus is more prioritized, and we rolled out the profit sharing. The other problem we had was our accounting team had these bonuses available, but the admin team who supports the accounting team wasn't getting to share in that personal bonus. They weren't sharing in the team bonus.
Yep.
And so we're pushing work onto them as far as helping getting stuff in and out the door. And we were, so that profit bonus was the profit sharing was really designed around our whole team has to win, not just one team. We're all in this together. The admin team, the payroll team, the sales team. So even our salespeople who are commission based, sharing our profit sharing every month. We've had this topic come up a lot, and that is different than Dave Ramsey would do it. They don't do that at Andrew Leadership, but our thought process is the overall firm's profitable because we brought in good clients. The overall firm's profitable because we retain good clients. Overall firm's profitable because we service really good. We service our clients well. It's all important. It's not just one side or the other. It's not
every
just
person.
about bringing them in.
And going to that overall profit share really helped us put kind of a production-based compensation for positions that were really hard to define that for. Mm-hmm. So now our admin team can see on their paycheck based on how well or not they're doing in their job, as well as how well we're doing as a firm.
Here's a hard thing. Transparency is difficult. They don't know how much we're profiting as a firm. They don't know how much the percentage I'm sharing as a firm. I will say that we shared over $150,000 last year of profitability, which is great. But at the same time, it is am I in control of my profit bonus? No, I'm not. I am, because attitude is one of those things. And attitude for me really means, are they living our values?
Yeah.
It to all extents. And most of our people are in a lot of areas.
And tenure is double weighted, because if you can't do the work well, you can't stay around here.
Correct. And so our people that have been here a long time got a nice head start on this just because they were already here, but they were already here because they've helped us get to where we are today. Yeah. And so they're being rewarded for it. And so over time, that bonus continues to grow. And, because there are obviously two reasons why, because our team is growing and we're getting better and more profitable, but also because the longer you're here, your bonus goes up. So it's great.
Yeah, and it's worked really well, and I think I know that people talk about it.
Well, from my end, it actually made it a lot easier, and so from an owner standpoint, it allowed me to do a couple things. The other bonus was really challenging. We had all the kinds of exceptions that happened. Well, this client was their dog died this month, and we weren't able to get their stuff this month. But can they please be exempted? And the other one was, well, they're a new client. We're still struggling to get them back, but they've been a new client for 90 days, and you still don't have them up and running, so they should count. And so those were always. We're having to have negotiations every month about who was in and who was out. This is easy. We're all going to share if we're profitable. We're all not going to share if we're not profitable. A lot easier.
And this is a discretionary profit share, which is important, because that means that if your work is not directly tied to these dollars, we don't have to worry about the compliance piece of tracking overtime to these dollars or readjusting and whatnot.
Yep.
Which from a compliance standpoint starts to matter.
If you have questions about regulatory compliance, please reach out to Works.
Yeah. That's honestly one of the questions that we get quite often is, hey, can I do this for my employee? And the answer is, generally speaking, almost always, you can, but there's a tax impact towards that.
Yes, but.
Just remember this. This is the one thing I'll say, and then we can move on. Anytime you give things of value, cash or cash equivalencies, to your employees, there is a tax effect on that gift. And
absolutely, it happens.
That's compensation.
It happens all the time. The question that we usually get around our Christmas time or holiday time, it's, hey, I'm just going to give them gift cards.
Yeah.
That gift card is cash. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. It's still just a paycheck.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them. We're going to have this guy's worked here all summer. I'm going to make him a partner. We're just going to give him shares. That's cash. You gave them cash in exchange for shares, and they gave that cash back to you in exchange for shares. That's tax.
Yep.
And that happens a lot.
And the important thing here is still do those things. Just know that you have an added burden.
Pay tax on them.
Tax, yeah. One of the things that we got just this, I think it was last week, maybe it was this week, we had a email come in, or I think it was a call come in, and it was an owner of one of our clients that's giving one of their employees a car, which I thought was super cool. And he was asking, how does this actually affect
giving him a car he already had, or going and buying a new car?
He already had the car. I think that I didn't handle the call, but I think he already had the car.
Company car.
Giving him
a personal car.
Yeah,
it's compensation.
Yeah,
you just gave them wages and they turned it into a car,
which is awesome. But at the same time,
right? You have the same thing. You win the lottery, you go on Price is Right, and you win a big award. What's always they say? Okay, I pay the tax on that. Yeah, great. I pay the tax now. Price is Right is a little different. You have a 1987 LeBaron. I mean, it's not the same as it used to be, but.
Did you ever watch that Netflix? I think it was Netflix show where the guy memorized all the prices on Prices Right.
Oh, that sounds like a good idea.
You should totally go back. It's hilarious. He memorized all of the items and then went on.
How would he know that those? I guess he knew all the items they always use.
So back then they didn't really move the. Yeah, they used the same items over and over again. Anyway, it was a really cool.
$1. $1. I bid $1.
He nailed.
That's all I remember about Price is Right.
He got both of the showcases. He was in the crowd, yelled out the price for both showcases, and was within like $100. I mean, it was insane. He's just like, yeah, that's
he got to go to Tahiti, and he won a 1987 LeBaron and a boat and a jet ski.
Price is Right changed what they do because of him. Yeah. It's an interesting documentary.
It's amazing if you watch Price is Right. If you're sick and you're at home and whatever, they play the same games they played 40 years ago. The games have not changed. I think it's the same wheel. I don't think they've updated the wheel at all either.
Yeah. I used to always like that.
I love that show. It's great.
Yeah, that was fun. Let me ask you this. So, you have a bunch of team members working for you, and I think everybody, every employee, their mindset at some point is going to be, how can I have more money? How can I get more money? How can I get a raise?
Yes.
What's the best way to approach you to say, hey, I want to talk about getting a raise? How does that play out?
For me, I feel like it's not uncomfortable for me to talk about money because I want them to win. I always feel like the employees have a hard time talking about money. If we mess up their paycheck, even we get that same. I'm really sorry, but I didn't get. Look, I messed it up. I want to pay it. Let's be real clear. If I forget something that reimbursement or something happens from time to time and we don't, I'm like, yeah, I owe you money.
I wasn't trying to be sneaky about it. Yeah.
I did not want to pay you. I just forgot, which is more than often the case. But the reality of it is I think it's just be open and honest. I think, hey, prove the case, show us the case why you deserve more money. And if I can't say yes, I probably won't say no. What I'll say is, let's figure out a way to directly correlate this to your goals.
Yeah.
That's what I will usually start with. Let's correlate this to your goals. And if you hit the goals, we'll give you a bonus.
And in the small business.
And I would want to make it like it's a monthly bonus or something like that. Monthly. If you do these goals every month, I'll pay you a bonus. Not here's your new salary. Because I want it to be directly tied to a result.
Skin in the game.
Yeah.
In the small business world, just because you have been there another year, another 3 years, another 5 years, does not mean that you're any more productive. The thing that I always have to remember is that my teams, the role that the people on my team fill is different than the value of the person filling the role. There's a direct dollar amount for the role that the person is filling. There is not a dollar amount for the value of the person that's filling that role. So we'll use Becky, for example. If Becky was a cashier at McDonald's, Becky is incredibly invaluable as a person. You can't put a dollar amount to that. But Becky doing the job of a cashier at McDonald's is only worth, what is it, 10, 12, whatever they're paying these days.
$74 an hour.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
No, but you're exactly
that's
right.
important to understand, because a lot of people come in and say, you know what, I've been doing this for 5 years and I'm immensely valuable, and that's absolutely true. But sometimes I can't just give you more money simply because the role that's being filled isn't worth more money.
Correct. Now, contrary to that, what other roles could that person fill in addition to the role they're currently fill? How do we change their responsibilities? What more responsibilities do they grab? How do they help us develop another teammate? All those things also have value, and that's where I would want to pay them more money.
Yeah.
It is super challenging though in certain roles. I mean, if you're in a certain role in an organization, I go, well, I can unless you're willing to do other responsibilities, that role doesn't make sense for me to pay more because I can. The alternative is I can have other terms for dollars, but that person themselves usually can grab other. We can talk about additional.
There may be another spot, yeah.
And we've done that a lot over the years where we've said, okay, hey, I'd like you to do these things. If you start doing these things, we'll talk through compensation. Or if you do these, if you hit these monthly goals, we'll talk through a bonus structure. Or if you get these results based off of what you're doing, I'll give you a bonus structure. I want to reward performance and responsibility. I don't want to just give you a raise because now we're going to be going through a period of the next 4 or 5 years, I'm guessing, of what could be some inflationary issues. And so that's a different adjustment. That's an adjustment for cost of living and a true inflation issue. Right now, I can foresee, my mind tells me we're going to have some inflation going on.
Don't want to get too political, but
I think the money prices haven't stopped in like a year. So at some point, that money is not as worth as much as it used to be.
Got to pay the piper.
But that being said, that's a different than a raise for performance. Those are just strictly hey, my prices are going up, my costs are going up, the world we live in goes up. That's kind of.
And sometimes if you don't do that, then you're ultimately just going to lose people.
Correct.
And that's where you got to keep your wages still have to be comparable to the market.
I also say, I don't think organizations do as good a job of rewarding people that are there as they do when they go to reward the people that they're trying to recruit. The team that you have needs to be rewarded for the work they're doing and the performance they've helped you achieve. Just because they've been around a long time doesn't mean that you've got them where they are. You want to adjust their compensation to where they deserve to be today.
Yeah.
You want to be, and I Mike and I have had this conversation a lot. I want to feel like I don't pay my employees enough, and I want my employees to feel like I pay them too much. That's the exact spot I want to be in. That means we're both happy. I believe that I'm paying them as much as I possibly can, but I wish I could pay them more. And they're going, oh my God. So I don't want compensation to be the driver to why they are looking for a different job. I want it to be one of the factors in their top 10, but hopefully not even in their top 5. Mm-hmm. I want them to enjoy the people they work around every day, the work they're getting challenged to do, the environment they're getting to work in. They want to feel like they're respected and valued. Those are things that are way more important to me than the compensation. But I want them to be well compensated too, and I want them to win. I want them to buy nice things and take care of their family and hit all their own personal financial goals they've ever wanted to hit in their life. In order to do that, we all have to get there. We all have to win together.
And the secret sauce to that is when that does happen, when you can get to the point where that's accomplished, what the unintended, and this isn't the reason why you believe that or why you do that, but the unintended consequence of that is when your people are happier, they're more productive. They're more effective in their role. And so when you take the topic of compensation off the table, because it's in line, you're doing things right, and there's an agreement there, then you've removed an area of friction or tension that otherwise could play into a decrease of performance or a desire not to be a team player, whatever it may be.
Well, but the challenge is, and so most owners probably feel this way, is that as an owner, is the business as profitable as I want it to be? Am I doing everything to make sure my people are as successful as they can be? And are we doing everything we can to make ourselves, better, a little bit better, so we can do these things? Well, you have to be pricing right. You have to be making sure you're looking at your numbers so that you know your profitability in all areas, and if your margins are correct and your costs are in control. You want to make sure you've tied compensation and performance. All these things matter for you getting to where you want to go. It's all great that we want to pay. I'd love to pay every person in my office $1 million a year. Great. If I did that tomorrow, I'd be broke and I wouldn't be able to do it.
I'd be negative broke.
Yeah, way broke. But the reality of it is in my mind, it's okay. I want to make sure that if I'm taking care of my people the right way, they're taking care of our customers the right way. Our customers are rewarding us with dollars. And I just think it's important you have to line all those goals up together. And
you make a good point, and we'll close on this, is all of these things are tied together. This is an interweb basket. And if you try to look at any one of these items, whether it's goals, compensation, values, mission, all of those things, if you try to take one and look at it under a microscope, avoid from the others, you're going to miss out.
Yep.
You have to look at the full picture here, because these are dominoes that can start to fall whenever
you have building blocks. They're building blocks, right? Yeah. So in order to get to where you're at compensation or goals, you have to understand what your values are. In order to get to values, you have to know what your why is. When you have to know what your mission is and your And you have to just build upon one after the other to get to where you're able to, because you can't do all this stuff at one time. Okay, I got my mission and values. I then got my, I got every position identified. I got every position identified with goals. I got every position identified with expectations and compensation, and just build upon each other one after another. It takes time.
Yeah, very good. Well, Matt, I appreciate you talking about compensation. Now, everybody in our office, when they listen to this podcast, is going to have the tools to come to you and say, "Hey, Matt, let's talk."
Yeah, let's talk. Okay.
It'll be a lot of fun.
I'm going to have to be some creative new bonus structures.
That's right. Or you just leave early every day.
Yeah. Come in late and leave early.
The issue altogether.
That's a Mike conversation. Go talk to Mike.
Oh, man. Fun times. Well,
Mike likes to say no, so it's fine.
I'm not even going to touch that. Keep on moving.
Yeah.
We have a question, something to talk about from last week that popped up here. Last week, Shelby and I were up here talking about customer service and ways in which we expect our team to serve our customers in ways that you could do that effectively. One question that kind of came in that I thought was interesting is there a difference or balance between customer service and quality control? How do those two things play together?
In our world, quality control has to be very high. It has to be right. The balance for customer service to me is I want us to do what we say we're going to do 100% of the time, which means our quality control is right and our customer service is right, because we told them on the front end what we were going to do. We then did it. We then did it correctly. So everybody was clear about what the expectations were and what the deliverables were. If anything of any of those things dropped the ball, we've messed up one or two of those fences. Either we didn't say we're going to do because we didn't make it right, and we didn't say we're going to do because we didn't get it on time. So I start with quality control, but that also is the doing what we say we're going to do.
Yeah, I don't think these are two opposite ends of a teeter-totter. Customer service isn't something that kicks in because of a lack of quality control. Customer service is the way in which your organization approaches the people it interacts with. The quality piece of what you're doing should be irrelevant of that. At least if you value quality, if you're trying to create high quality goods or have high quality service, then that's void of customer service. The customer service is going to come in to help when you messed up, but it's also going to be there way before that to set the expectation that we're not trying to mess up. Yep. And so I don't think these are opposite ends of a spectrum. I think they go hand in hand in some ways. And it's important to spend time to get a good emphasis on teaching your team what the expectation is for servicing your customers or clients, but also what the expectation is on the quality of work product you're putting out.
I look at these, the yin and yang really is always effectiveness and efficiency.
Yeah. Not
necessarily quality control and customer service. It's how do we balance being effective, making sure in our world it's 100% right, versus the efficiency is 97% right, good enough, because it's cost benefit analysis.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot.
Yeah. I think that's true. And we can talk a lot more about the effectiveness versus efficiency conversation.
Yep.
That's something that pops up on a hard weekly basis.
That's a tough one in any business. I mean, that's a tough one for everything.
Yeah. Maybe we can include that as a topic one time.
You can have it good, you can have it fast, or you can have it cheap. You only have it two of the three.
Two of the three, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's always a fun thing. Well, if you're out there listening, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your week to listen to us garble about compensation and goals and everything that's kind of tied to that. Like we said earlier, we would love to hear from you, whether that's through sending us a comment via however you're listening, or send us an email to onestepbetter@patrickaccounting.com. And we'll be sure, if we use any of your questions or content on the air, we will send you some swag, and you can walk around wearing some cool Shamrock stuff. So
One Step Better t-shirts.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. You guys have a wonderful day.